Nate with another Backcountry beer review. I'm here on this very windy day on the top of Bosque Peak in the Manzano Mountains. It's an extremely beautiful peak, just amazing views of the Rio Grande Valley, really actually the entire state. I mean, it is awesome views. The beer I'm reviewing today is by Prairie Artisan Ales, which is owned by Krebs Brewing Company out of McAlester, Oklahoma, and it's their Spicy Pickle Monster. It's a sour ale with spicy dill pickles, orange, lemon, and lime. You know, I'm slightly familiar with Prairie Artisan Ales. I think I've maybe had 2 of their beers. If I'm being honest, I would say that I have a 50% success rate because one of the beers I thought was pretty good, and one of them I would definitely not buy again. But they're sort of an interesting company. They always have really weird sounding stuff. Whatever category you want to describe this brewery, it seems like they're mostly focused on making things like sours, fruited sours, pastry beers. They're more in that milieu versus like making more traditional styles, which is perfectly fine, but it means that when I do get to try them, it's sort of an interesting experience. Time for that sip. I'll say that my only previous experience with pickle beer was that it was essentially drinking pickle juice from a Mount Olive jar after all the pickles were gone. It was really intense, really briny, really pickly. This seems to be a little bit more subtle. I don't know if nuanced is the right word, and I'll get to that later, but it's definitely more subtle. The initial taste I get, it's like salt. It's like drinking a Mexican beer with salt and lime in it. You just get citrus, you get this saltiness. I hesitate to say brininess. I think really more saltiness, a little bit of that sourness from the fact that it is a sour beer. And I'm not really getting the finer notes of the pickle. I can't really pick out, this is made with orange, lemon, and lime. To me, it's just sort of like general citrus, maybe leaning more towards lemon. It doesn't really resonate to me as pickle juice. That's what I'm trying to say. Then the heat quickly builds up in the middle third. It starts off on the back of your tongue and just slowly lingers and builds and builds and builds until it's kind of dominating the flavor profile. And now this is where I'm actually pretty grateful, because I think that they strategically kind of reserved and held back how much spice they could put into this beer. It's definitely not hot. I mean, it's registering as spicy, but it's certainly not hot. It's not like you're gonna be begging for a different non-spicy beer while drinking this beer. As far as what type of heat it is, I mean, just sort of like nondescript heat, maybe like Tabasco, especially when combined with that citrus note, kind of like a vinegar-based hot sauce with some extra nuance in it. And it's not really until the final third, maybe the back end of the middle third, but the final third, and especially lingering on the finish, that I really get what I would call pickle flavor. That's where the pickle flavor really dominates, where the dill and the heat and the saltiness and tanginess kind of all come together to give that pickle note. I think it's actually a good beer. You know, I pick up the sour, the fact that it's a sour ale, I pick up the dill pickles, I pick up the spice, I pick up the citrus, but it doesn't really come together to do anything, if that makes any sense. It's just sort of like, oh, all these notes, and the end product I don't know is necessarily greater than the sum of its parts. That's kind of the only critique I have of the beer. But again, a pretty solid beer actually. Cheers, and have a Backcountry beer for me. The struggle is real to trying to find a spot on this mountain that is not too windy to film. At this point, like, the audio is not even my concern, it's more just my phone falling off.